Welcome back. For today's card, I'm going to make a die-cut inlaid card with a minimalist design. So I'm going to take this happy die cut from Studio Calico and line it up on my cardstock. This is 80-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock, cut to 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm placing that horizontally. I use some washi tape here to hold my die in place as I run it through my die cut machine. Get my Cuttlebug out here. I know it's a very archaic die cut machine, but it gets the job done. So I'll get my plates lined up, put the cardstock in between, and then I'll just run that through the machine. Alright, then I'll go ahead and remove the metal die from the paper. And as I do this, I'm going to make sure to save all those little bits and pieces from in between the letters there. So you can see they're up at the top of my my mat there above the cardstock. I also have a die cut of the happy that I previously cut out from some pink cardstock. And here I'm just folding my card base. It's Neenah Solar White again, this time 110-pound cardstock. It really makes a nice card base. So I'll just crease that. And then I'm going to use some Tombow Mono Multi-Glue to adhere the die cut piece of cardstock to the front of my card. So I'll just get some glue on it nice and good, all in those tiny little spaces around the word so that it doesn't come up off the card base. And then to line that up, I'll place my card on the mat there, line up at the bottom so it's nice and straight, line up the sides, and then work my way up to the top. And then I'll go ahead and just press that into my mat, make sure it's nice and smooth. And I want to be careful not to move the cut piece around very much, so you'll see I'm placing the white happy back in there just to make sure that the edges line up, so that way it looks seamless when I put the pink cardstock in there. Get that out of the way. I must have had some extra glue on my paper there. You can see my card got a little stuck, but it didn't seem to impact the back of the card, so we're good. So I'll take the glue again and just draw the glue inside the lines there of the word. And this is to adhere the pink happy down. So we'll get that right in place. And then using the same glue, I'm going to start adhering those bits and pieces inside the words. And this is what makes it look seamless. So each one of those, just a little dab of glue, get them glued on. Okay. So that part's all set. Now we just have to finish up the sentiment. So I've got another piece of Neenah Solar White here. This is 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. And I'm going to use this stamp set by Reverse Confetti, so very special. I'm going to use the birthday sentiment. It's going to be a happy birthday card. And I'm going to use my Mini Misty stamp tool to get this all lined up nice and straight. So we'll get that out. Then I'll use the grid on the stamp tool to line up my piece of paper and line up my stamp on top of the paper. And I realized that once I got it down, my paper was going to move and I might forget where which grid it was lined up with. And I could use a piece of washi tape to mark it, but I just chose to grab my magnets instead. Kind of push things out of the way for a second, but get that relined up. And when I got it where I want it, I'll close the cover of the Misty and re-straighten out my paper, and then we're ready to ink. And for ink today, I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Gets a nice crisp image. And as I usually do, I'm going to stamp the sentiment twice just to make sure I don't have any gaps and it's a nice solid impression. Okay. To add a little bit of embellishment to this piece, I'm just going to cut some rimmed ends into it. So I'll make a small snip in the center and then cut from the corner of each end to give it a bit of a ribbon or a banner end. Okay, now I'm ready to adhere this to my card. I'm going to use some foam squares to adhere this. I believe they're from scrapbook adhesive. So I'll just get those all lined up. Make sure they're pressed down nice and good. Remove the backing. And then get it lined up underneath the happy here. So we have a happy birthday card. And there we go. Pretty simple, nice and minimalist, but a really nice design. So that completes the card. Thank you for joining me.